So I want to tell you the story of how the police shut us down on my film Melanie's Grave, which is available for streaming on Amazon Prime, so go check it out. So this story involves a replica gun. Believe it or not, we had 2 incidents with this gun on set, with 2 different actors playing the same character. Now the gun in question was a replica handgun and didn't fire and wasn't supposed to be fired at any time during the filmmaking process. Now I'm holding my hands up right away, so save your comments because I was the producer and I should have, especially on the first incident I'm going to tell you about, should have been in control of that. So the first incident was with actor Nikos, who would later leave the production to be replaced by James, who's currently in the film. Now both of those actors were playing the character of Rob, and we were shooting the opening scene of the film where we see Rob, the armed robber, running down the street with a gun in his hand. And I decided to shoot that scene on a footpath which ran along the back of my house, so it was very close to my house. Now that went fine, and when we wrapped, everyone made their way back to my house, which was the main location and the main base for the film. Now, I was distracted because I was doing other things, and Nikos went ahead still clutching the gun in his hand and accidentally walked into a neighbour's unlocked front door, only to be confronted by the owner, who had just come out of the shower and was wearing nothing but a towel around his waist. Now Nikos apologised and left. Now I don't know if the neighbour saw the gun at all, but I was horrified when he told me about it, and I actually thought the armed police were going to descend down on us, and I was panicking like fuck, you know. So I hastily went to the neighbours, who I'd never spoken to before in my life, and I explained to them that we were shooting a film, that Nikos was a foreigner and he was staying at my house, and he thought it was actually my house, and that's why he just walked straight into his house. Now the neighbour accepted my apology, and I was really relieved that we didn't get a visit from the police on that occasion. Now with the next incident we weren't so lucky, and we did get visited by the police and we got temporarily shut down. Now this incident happened several weeks later after Nikos had left the production and I'd replaced him with James, so we obviously had to reshoot that entire scene with a gun. Now I did inform the police on both occasions that we were doing this and that we'd be using a replica gun. They took my details and everything was fine, but that I would have to call them on the day just in case the information hadn't been passed to the officers on shift that particular day, which I did. Now, they said that I may get a police vehicle coming past us just to see what we were up to, and that was absolutely obviously fine. Now suddenly I'm getting phone calls, and then there's a visit from a police officer who wants to see the gun. He asks me if it fires, and I tell him it doesn't, that we have no ammo and that it isn't going to be discharged. And I describe the scene, which is simply the actor running down the street with a gun in his hand, and I gave him the location where we intended to shoot. Now it turned out there'd been a real life incident on the same housing estate where we were shooting, of a report of a guy with a gun. Now bear in mind we hadn't been outside yet, so it couldn't have been us. So obviously the police were very concerned, but we were given the go ahead anyway. So then we go and do the scene, and there's a police car sitting there with 2 police officers inside, and apparently they're there just to keep an eye on us. So anyway, I had to ask them to turn off their engines so it didn't affect our sound, and they complied and everything was fine. But before we can finish the scene, they tell us we have to stop filming because they have to leave. So I never asked for them to be there, they just turned up, and now they're asking us to stop because they got to leave. So I said we literally had 3 shots to do, which didn't involve the gun at all because we'd finished with that, but they still insisted that we had to stop completely. Now we didn't argue with them because as we were having that conversation, I was already planning what to do in my head. So I just simply agreed, and they watched us pack up and head back to my house, which is literally kind of round the corner from where we're shooting. So the plan was an early lunch, and after they'd gone, we'd return to the location behind my house and shoot the remainder of the scene, which is exactly what we did. So if you're a filmmaker, you can shoot a scene with a gun in public, but it is recommended that you call the police and have the day and the times logged when you intend to shoot. And make sure that you call them on the day to make sure that on-shift officers are aware of what you were doing. So can you imagine if we hadn't told the police about this and a member of the public had reported us, especially after there'd already been 1 incident with a gun? We'd probably have had the armed response team down on us within minutes. So make that call in advance if you're filming with any kind of weapon. I've still got lots more stories to tell from my time making this film, which is now available to stream on Amazon Prime, so please give it a watch and don't forget to leave some feedback after watching it. And if you're feeling very generous, please go to the IMDb page for Melanie's Grave and give it a rating. 10 out of 10 would be nice. Reviews and ratings all help drive the film's presence, so that would be much appreciated. Till next time.